What happens to a girl when even her own family decides she should not exist? That question followed Evelyn Ashford like a shadow as the wagon carrying her rolled across the muddy road, each turn of the wheels pulling her farther from the only life she had ever known. Evelyn sat stiff in the back, her wrists pressed against the rough leather straps on the seat. The cold air bit through her dress, and the wind carried the smell of wet earth and pine, but none of it reached the deeper chill settled inside her chest. She kept her eyes on her worn boots, refusing to look at the men riding beside the wagon. They were her family's men, men who once bowed their heads in respect, now silent escorts for her exile. Her mother, Margaret Ashford, sat at the front, shoulders straight, hands folded tight. Evelyn had dared once to speak during the journey, but her mother's voice had cut sharper than any knife. "Do not speak of what must not exist," she had said. "Your place is gone. You were never meant to be seen, do you understand?" Evelyn had only nodded. Fighting was pointless. Pleading was worse. The Ashford name meant more than truth, more than blood, more than children. And as the bastard daughter they never wanted, she was a secret they needed to bury far from town. The wagon jerked to a stop. Evelyn lurched forward as dust rose in a thick cloud around them. She blinked fast, trying to make sense of the shapes moving ahead. A man climbed down from the driver's seat and reached for her arm. She expected a shove or a cold warning, but he simply helped her down without a word. A farmer stood by the gate, his sleeves rolled up, hands rough from years of work. His hat shadowed his eyes, but when he looked at her, there was no judgment, no scorn. "I'm Cole Merritt," he said. "You're welcome to stay for now." Evelyn stared at him in confusion. For now. Not welcome, not safe, just shelter. He pointed toward the small farmhouse behind him, a thin trail of smoke rising from the chimney. "This isn't your home," he said, "but it's warm. Eat, rest. Tomorrow, we'll talk about work." Her throat tightened. She had feared chains, harsher words, maybe even being left on the road. Instead, she found a man who treated her like a person, not a scandal. Inside the farmhouse, Evelyn settled on a narrow cot near the window. The night wind whistled through the cracked boards. A lone coyote howled somewhere far off. She hugged her thin blanket tighter and stared at the ceiling. She was not welcome here. She was only tolerated. But she was alive, and for the first time no one had called her a mistake. Morning came cold and gray. Cole was already outside, his steady movements guiding the start of the day. Evelyn stepped out carefully, unsure of where she stood. "I'll need help," he said, not looking up from the bucket he lifted. "Start with the chickens in the barn, then the garden." She nodded. That was easier than words. She knew how to work. She had been raised to survive quietly, to move unseen, to endure without asking for anything. Hours passed with nothing but simple chores. The chickens scratched the dirt. The cows chewed lazily. The garden needed weeding, and with every small task, Evelyn felt something she hadn't felt in years: purpose. Cole watched her at times, but not with pity or suspicion, more like he was learning who she was. Piece by piece, he never asked why she was cast out. He never asked what sin she had committed. He simply let her work beside him, day after day. One afternoon, as Evelyn sat by the fire mending her dress, a heavy knock sounded at the door. She froze. Cole opened it. A deep voice growled from outside. "Merritt, I heard you've taken in a girl who doesn't belong here." Evelyn felt every muscle in her body lock tight. She knew that voice. Harlan Graves. A cruel foreman who served her family with a loyalty built on fear. Cole stepped outside, blocking the doorway. "She's under my roof," he said. His tone was calm, but held the weight of a man who would not move. "You leave now, or you answer to me." Silence. Then boots scraping on dirt as Harlan walked away. Evelyn's hands shook uncontrollably. When Cole returned, his expression steady, he met her gaze. "You're safe here," he said. He didn't shout it or pretend to be a hero. He just said it like a fact, like something that could be trusted. That night, Evelyn lay awake long after the fire died low. She stared at the wooden ceiling and replayed Cole's words in her mind. Safe. No one had ever said that to her before. The farm became her world. She learned to milk cows, patch fences, gather eggs, and plant seeds. Her hands grew stronger, her steps steadier. And Cole was always near, not watching over her like a guard, but standing at her side like someone who believed she could handle the work. One evening, she paused at the fence to watch the sunset paint the sky gold and crimson. Cole stepped up beside her. He leaned against the wooden post, calm as the earth beneath them. "You're doing fine," he said. "Better than most." "I'm not sure I'm supposed to be," she whispered. "I wasn't meant to be out here." He tossed a handful of hay into the field. "Doesn't matter what the world thinks," he said. "You're here now." And that's enough. For a moment, she let herself believe him. As the last light faded, Evelyn realized something she had never understood before. This farm was not just shelter. Cole Merritt was not just a farmer. This place, this life, this man, felt strangely like the beginning of something she never thought she deserved. What if peace could fall apart in a single heartbeat? That fear followed Evelyn every day, even when the farm felt safe. Even when Cole's steady presence made the world seem less cruel. She wanted to believe the danger was gone, but deep down she knew the past had sharp teeth. Life on the farm had settled into a rhythm she had never imagined. Dawn came with roosters crowing and the sting of cold air on her fingers as she fed the chickens. She carried buckets of water, filled troughs, and walked the fence lines with Cole. Her soft palms had become rough and strong, each callus a mark of the new life she was building. Cole had a quiet way of teaching. He did not correct her harshly or hover over her shoulder. He simply worked beside her, showing her how to hold a tool, how to patch a fence, how to guide a stubborn cow back into the barn. When she succeeded, he nodded. When she struggled, he stepped in without making her feel small. His silence, once intimidating, had become something she depended on. It meant she did not have to explain herself. It meant she did not have to relive the shame she had been born into. One late afternoon, after a long morning of repairs, Evelyn paused to catch her breath near the orchard. The sky blazed orange, the wind gentle against her hair. For a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a life where no one hunted her, where she was not a secret carried in fear. But then she saw it. A dust cloud rising on the road. Her heart sank before she even saw the figure within it. Mrs. Ashford. A carriage. Two stern-faced men. The past arriving like a storm. Evelyn froze, gripping the wooden rake so tight her knuckles turned white. Panic rose in her throat like fire. Cole appeared at her side. His presence as steady as the land beneath her feet. He didn't speak at first. He simply placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay calm," he murmured. "I'm here." The carriage stopped. Mrs. Ashford stepped out, her chin lifted high, her eyes cold and sharp. "Evelyn," she said, voice cutting through the air. "It's time you returned to your rightful place." Evelyn shook her head, barely able to breathe. "No, I'm not going back." Mrs. Ashford's lips thinned into a cruel line. "You are an Ashford. You carry our name whether we want you or not. Do you think you belong here?" She gestured toward the farm. "With dirt under your nails and a man who doesn't understand your worth?" Evelyn's voice trembled. "I belong where I'm respected." Mrs. Ashford opened her mouth to strike back, but Cole stepped forward, blocking the path between them. "She stays here," he said firmly. "She belongs where she chooses, not where she's hidden." The two men behind Mrs. Ashford shifted, ready to act, but Cole didn't move. The quiet strength in his stance was louder than any threat. "You'll take nothing from her," he said. "Not her peace, not her life." Quote. The tension in the air crackled like lightning, but in the end Mrs. Ashford backed down. Her glare was cold, promising trouble later, but she turned and climbed back into the carriage. The horses pulled away, leaving a thick silence behind them. When they were finally alone, Evelyn collapsed against the fence, shaking. Cole knelt beside her. "They won't take you," he said. "Not while I'm breathing." Evelyn swallowed hard. "You didn't have to stand against them." Cole brushed a loose strand of hair from her face, his touch gentle. "Yes," he said, "I did." In the days that followed, Evelyn tried to return to her chores, but something inside her had changed. Fear still lingered, but beneath it was something new, something warm. She watched Cole more closely now. The set of his jaw when he worked, the way his eyes softened when he looked at her, the quiet care in every small action he took. She began to understand that he wasn't just helping her survive, he was choosing her, every single day. One evening, they stood together at the barn door, closing it for the night. The sky glowed purple and gold, clouds stretching like soft brushstrokes across the horizon. "Cole," she said softly, "have you ever wanted more than this farm?" He didn't answer right away. He watched the last of the sunlight fade, then looked at her with a softness she had never seen before. "I want to do right by the people who matter," he said. "And you matter more than you know." Her breath caught. She felt something shift inside her, something tender and frightening at the same time. She wasn't just surviving with him, she was becoming someone new. Their quiet world was tested again when a sudden storm hit the farm the next week. Wind roared through the trees, tearing at the fences. Rain slammed against the windows. Evelyn worked beside Cole as they rushed to shelter the animals. A tree limb snapped and crashed near the barn, making her jump. Cole grabbed her hand. "Stay close. I've got you." The storm raged on for hours, but they worked side by side, soaked and shivering, holding the farm together piece by piece. When they finally stumbled inside the farmhouse, exhausted and muddy, Evelyn looked at Cole through tired eyes. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Cole stepped closer, touching her cheek gently. "You never had to do anything alone." The storm outside quieted, but the storm inside her heart only grew. She felt the truth settling inside her, warm and steady. She trusted him, and she was falling for him, hard. What does a broken girl become when someone finally fights for her instead of against her? Evelyn Ashford asked herself this every day as winter wrapped the farm in white and Cole's quiet devotion wrapped around her heart even tighter. Snow covered the fields like a soft blanket. Frost glittered on the fence posts. The world felt still, peaceful, almost new. Evelyn moved through the farmhouse with ease now, lighting the fire, warming the kettle, tending to chores she once feared she would never learn. In those quiet mornings, she often caught her reflection in the frosted window, not the frightened secret her family had cast away, not the shame they tried to bury, but a woman growing into her own strength. Cole saw the change too. One cold morning, as she fed the chickens and her fingers turned pink from the chill, he approached her, carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. "I found something near the woodpile," he said. She paused, confused, until he knelt and unwrapped the cloth. A tiny kitten, shivering and wet, blinked up at her with wide blue eyes. Evelyn gasped softly. "Oh, he's so small." Cole smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair from her cheek. "I thought maybe you'd like a friend, something to care for. Something new." Her heart warmed instantly. She scooped the kitten into her hands, letting it curl against her palm for warmth. It was a simple gesture, but one filled with meaning. He saw her. He understood her. He wanted to give her something gentle to hold in a world that had been anything but kind. That night, after supper, they sat by the fire. The kitten slept curled at Evelyn's feet. Cole's voice broke the comfortable silence. "Evelyn, I want you to know something." She looked at him, heart beating faster. "You don't have to face your past alone," he said. "I'm here. Whatever comes, I'll be here." His words were steady, certain. Evelyn reached out and placed her hand over his. Their fingers intertwined naturally, as if they had been waiting for this moment all along. "And I'll stay," she whispered. "Here with you, because this feels like home." Cole's eyes softened, and for the first time he allowed himself to reach out and gently brush her cheek. "I want you in my life," he said. Not because you need a place, but because it feels right. You feel right. Her breath caught and warmth rushed through her. She had never been wanted for who she was, never chosen, never loved without conditions, until now. Spring came slowly, melting the ice and waking the fields. Evelyn found herself laughing sometimes, real laughs that surprised her. She and Cole repaired fences, plowed the field, and fed the animals side by side. Their partnership became natural, easy, safe. Then one soft morning, Evelyn discovered something that changed everything. She was with child. She pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling shock and fear twist inside her. But beneath it all was something sweeter, a trembling hope, a future she never thought she could have. She looked out the window at Cole chopping firewood, his steady rhythm echoing across the yard. When he saw her standing there, he gave her a small smile, the kind that made her feel grounded. Later, when she told him, the axe slipped from his hands. You're carrying our child?" he asked, voice low with awe. Evelyn nodded, tears blurring her vision. I didn't know how to tell you." He stepped toward her, rested both hands gently on her face, and kissed her forehead. "You've just given me the greatest gift," he whispered. "I'll protect you both, always." Her tears fell freely then, not from fear, but from relief, from joy, from the certainty of being loved at last. Weeks passed, and Cole became even more careful around her. He took on heavier chores, checked the house twice each night, and made sure she rested. Evelyn helped as much as she could, but she no longer felt the weight of being a burden. She felt cherished. When the time came to deliver the baby, a storm rolled across the ridge, wind howling and rain slashing against the windows. But Cole stayed beside her the entire time, holding her hand through every wave of pain. "You're not alone," he kept whispering. "I'm right here." And when their daughter finally cried her first breath, Evelyn felt something bloom inside her, something stronger than fear, stronger than shame. "Love." Cole held the tiny girl gently, his voice trembling. "She's perfect," he said. "Just like her mother." Evelyn held their baby close, tears slipping down her cheeks. She had never imagined this life, never believed she could be anything more than a secret to hide. But Cole had given her a home, a family, a future. In the following days, the farm felt transformed. The air seemed lighter, the fields brighter, the world kinder. Evelyn watched Cole rock their daughter by lamplight, his face soft with devotion, and understood the truth she had searched for her whole life. She was not the shame her family had tried to erase. She was a wife in all but name, a mother, a woman who had built a life from dust and heartbreak. And she was loved, fully and completely, by the man who had chosen her when no one else would. As the sun set over the fields, painting the sky in gold and rose, Evelyn stepped onto the porch with her baby in her arms. Cole wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her close. "You're safe," he whispered. "Both of you. This life, it's ours." Evelyn leaned her head against his shoulder, feeling peace settle deep inside her. Home wasn't a place. Home was him. And in his arms, she had everything she had ever deserved.